When a woman stops creating, men pick up weapons. And the only way for us to restore the balance is to start creating. And so many of us have tried to pick up weapons to fight systems, to fight things that are not working within our lives, within our families, within the world. But the truth is, the answer has been right here all along. And it's to start creating, to start wanting what we want, allowing ourselves to desire what we desire and be drawn to what we're drawn to in the most illogical ways possible. That's the only way for the wild feminine to come back alive. I know that I have talked myself into things. I've taken things that come into my mind and then make that the truth that convinces my heart in how to act forward. And the most illogical way has always been the answer. Anyway, rewind. When I was in Portugal a few months ago, I was on a sound medicine retreat where I was practicing liberating my voice, creating medicine songs, allowing myself to sing and express and make music. And that's when I found out that there was a trip to Peru coming up. Before I even knew about the trip, there was a beautiful day of meditating, connecting to nature in the mountains. That was really intense for me. I was shown in it how I have stopped feeling life force move through my body. I felt so empty. I felt so lost. And I didn't know how I would even restart, allowing the divine to move through me. And I remember coming back to the circle, to the fire, to the music, to other people, and being served a cup of the most delicious, nourishing cacao. It wasn't sweetened, it wasn't spiced, it was pure, maybe with a tiny bit of sweetener. It was passed around the fire in a coconut shell. And immediately it was like, boom. I felt grounded in my body. I felt connected to the earth. And I felt like, okay, one step at a time, I can do this. I can be guided. I can be provided. And I can move forward. And I wanted to know everything about that cacao. One thing I found out about it is that it was from Peru. Immediately, I felt a connection to the land of Peru where I'd never been in a very visceral way. And I knew that the land was calling to me. Fast forward months later, I moved back to the US, moving through a lot of transitions in my own personal life, a separation with a small child, finding a new home, setting up a whole new life unexpectedly. And the trip to Peru kept calling and knocking on my door. And it made no sense for me to say yes. There was so many undefined, unpredictable things still. But I said yes. And within that saying yes, there was a lot of different anchors out in the world that I created to help me hold that vision and help me trust it. When I was in Ericeira in Portugal, I was passing by this vintage shop, mom and pop vintage shop, and I saw this beautiful woolen sweater in it, like a poncho style, pure wool, super warm, super soft. And I bought it it was so bulky. I didn't have space in my luggage. It was super illogical. But I knew that for me, saying yes to buying it meant saying yes to the possibility of Peru. So fast forward a few months later, it's end of February 2025. I find myself landing in Lima, in Peru. There were a lot of tests and challenges along the way, as well as a lot of confirmations that I'm on the right path. I knowingly skipped the opening circle because I didn't want to be away from my son for more than a certain amount of days. And then I was meant to arrive just before the opening ceremony begins. In the morning when I woke up at the airport hotel in Lima, there was a panic in my whole being. And I woke up exactly when I scheduled to. Everything was planned out fine. But I woke up and panicked. I could barely breathe. I start packing up and dressing, and I get to the airport and I go to check in. And I'm told that the check in for my flight has closed. I start asking, what if I leave my suitcase? What if I have no luggage? Can you please let me in? I have to make it there. This is the only flight that day. And they tell me that we're sorry, but there's absolutely nothing we can do. This happens all the time. And there's not a single person for whom the check-in has been reopened. I start running around looking for other options for taxis. All the taxi companies think I'm crazy. Well, first of all, they say yes because they think I'm talking about the town that is 20 minutes outside Lima, not 10 hours outside of Lima. But when they find out when I'm actually supposed to go, they all say no. Then I try to rent a car, which I was directly advised not to do because the roads are insane in Peru. And I'm on the verge of pulling out my credit card, getting that car so I can make it to the ceremony. And then I find out that I didn't bring my driver's license because I wasn't planning on driving in Peru. And so that in itself for me was such a profound ceremony of trusting the timing, trusting the flow, trusting that even my nightmare, repetitive nightmare of being late to something important felt like an invitation to give up. I was like, what am I even doing here? Maybe I should just go back and be with my son. But something kept calling. So I figured out a way to get where I was going. I took a bus and I got to my destination 30 minutes before our little van was leaving to go into a mountain adventure into the Andes, where we spent 3 days camping, going to sacred sites, meditating, praying around the fire, sharing songs and stories, swimming, skinny dipping in sacred lagoons. It was really, really special. And then we got back to the town where we're staying, and it was time to meditate in a sacred temple. What we know is that it's a portal, it's a sacred site. And we were very, very lucky to be able to meditate there. And it's in that temple, in complete pitch darkness of its labyrinths, that I got answers to all of my life's questions, at least the ones that feel present now. And so in this video or podcast episode, I will be sharing some of those downloads and rememberings with you. What was fascinating about that journey is that it didn't feel like the answers were coming from some being or someone outside of myself. It felt like it was a knowing that was being revealed from within me. And unlike a lot of different dream world guidance that I receive, it didn't come in as visions or energy patterns that I needed to find words for and interpret. It came in language, very clear, very direct. And so one of the first ones that dropped in was, when a woman stops creating, men pick up weapons. The only way for us to restore balance on earth as women is to start creating again. And how do we do that? That starts by following what sparks us, what brings us joy, what makes us feel alive. This journey of remembering how to be a creator in my own life and how to allow the wild feminine, the wild goddess energy to move through me started for me a few months ago when I was driving my car and considering getting a custom license plate. I was playing with different ideas of what it could be. I even came up with what I wanted to be. And then this voice came in and started saying, you don't even know how long you're going to live in this state. Why would you waste this money? Doesn't make any sense. But then this inner knowing took over and was saying it doesn't matter how long you stay in this state and keep this license plate. The truth is your car is your altar on wheels. It's your sacred time to listen, to process, to create. And even if you only have that license plate for one day, it's worth it for you to invest into something that will delight you. Every time you go into your car, every time you're putting groceries or your dog into the back of your car, you're going to see that custom license plate that means something to you, that is the universe speaking to you. So invest in yourself, invest in your vision, and invest in that delight. And I came home and I applied for that license plate. I put in my credit card and then the page crashed. And the next thing I knew, it said that license plate was no longer available. I got no confirmation emails. And I thought, okay, maybe I need to give up. And then I came up with another license plate name and I even ordered it. And it just didn't feel right. And so I canceled it. And so I've been in this void of, okay, so what is it? I thought I knew what it was. I thought I'm listening. but then it's not available. And then I get a letter in the mail that says, hey, the license plate that I wanted, the original one, is at the DMV in your town. Go and pick it up. And at the most divine time, where a lot of other pieces of the puzzle of my life and things I'm creating right now are literally in production right now this week. So I just went and picked up the license plate and attached it to my car, and it's an invitation to listen. It's got angel numbers on it, and it's the word listen. Instead of trying to project something into the world, it is my reminder to listen, because that's how we create magic. One other thing that I caught myself believing that is a complete lie, and I wonder if this resonates for you, is that I can only truly allow myself to be out there in the world. Is that I can only truly allow myself to be out there in the world, shining, connecting, being seen, when I have something cool to show. Once I create the next cool brand that people recognize and know, that is profitable, then I will allow myself to be out there and be seen. Completely forgetting that I am the magic. The only reason why we're given ideas to create things out in the world is so that we can spread that unique magic that is us. And each one of us has it. And each one of us has it in a very unique way. And it's interesting. So many of us want to be loved by the divine and be held by God and be guided and be given these downloads. But a lot of us are not a safe space for those downloads to come in because, one, we pretend we didn't hear. Who's guilty of that? Another one, we pretend to not have the resources to do it. Another one is we don't think now is the time. We pretend all these lies when in reality, if we're given a vision, if we're given a download, our only job is to trust it and take the leap, and everything else will open up and be reorganized and rearranged to make sure that it is possible. Thinking about its feasibility is not our job. It's all going to be provided for. Your only job is to listen, receive, and act, and make it yours, make it you, make it very uniquely you. And so as I work on the next project that I'm about to release in the world that I haven't announced yet, but if you follow me on social media, you may know what it has to do with. I'm getting very close to being able to share it with you. It's all about nourishment, creativity, and heart. And I can't believe I bought that lie that I need to wait until it's launched and released and profitable until I am worth something. It's the other way around. It's me walking in the world, knowing that I am deserving, I am worthy, I am the magic, I am the goddess energy, allowing the wild feminine to move through me. And then everything I touch blossoms. A woman who's in touch with her instincts and walks that way, everything around her blossoms. So that was a big recalibration of, okay, it's not about the thing that I create, because that's just one thing of so many. I'm going to get so many more downloads and I'm going to create so many more things in the world. But it's about me being connected to being a vessel for life force, for magic, for love, for infinite love. And so I'm remembering that, and I'm remembering how to walk in that way. And that's the reason I'm wearing a dress right now. In that beautiful meditation, I was wearing a bunch of sweatpants, layers upon layers, because it was really cold, and like sweatshirts and hoodies. And there was this other woman in our circle who was wearing a beautiful hat and these flowy feminine pants. And I was feeling how she was walking, and it was like a cat. It was very different. It was very feminine. And in that moment, I realized that, hold on, there's a reason why women have always dressed and adorned themselves, because it's one of the pathways towards connecting to that wild, creative, feminine energy of celebrating our vessels, of being seen, and of co-creating with everything that's around us through beauty. And having grown up in a country, in Russia, where there was a lot of preconceived notions and pressure around what beauty is and how a woman should look like, There was a lot of times where I would go to nightclubs as a teenager and there would be face control. So you would be standing in a crowd of people and you would be either pointed at and said, okay, you passed the face control and the dress code, or you don't. So I got used to that judgment that is very one dimensional early on. And I got used to play the game of wearing the high heels and the makeup and the bright pink nails. I had my whole Barbie phase. It was, yeah, I can show you some pictures. I've gone through all the phases. And then I entered more like my American casual phase, more androgynous. I still have my moments where I like to dress up, but it's a lot more casual. And it, I needed that phase so that I can release the pressure of needing to look feminine to be beautiful. Um, but with that, I feel like I've lost a little bit of that magic of the feminine moving through me, through my style. So I'm refining it by allowing myself to wear dresses, to wear makeup, to wear my hair down, actually get it washed on a day where I'm not going anywhere. Wear hats. There was a hat I fell in love with on the street, one of the little markets. And in the moment, I didn't allow myself to buy it because I thought, okay, in the US, if you wear a wide brim hat at this point, everybody makes fun of you because you kind of look like the standard spiritual entrepreneur. But I loved that hat. It was made from alpaca. It was a beautiful color. And so I promised myself that I would go back and find it. That market was closed, but I found another market. And here's what I found. This hat. I love it. So here's my hat. I'm learning to let the wild feminine to move through me. I'm learning and remembering that I am the creator. And I'm also remembering that we can't ask the divine to love us and give us guidance and downloads if we're not safe spaces for those downloads to be brought through all the way into the physical realm. And when I talk about being loved by the divine or loving God, I'm not talking about in the way of praise or going to church or temple or doing it in a certain defined way. The way that I understand loving the divine is allowing the creative life force energy to move through me in the way that is uniquely me. And that's how we show life, that we're here for it. That's how we demonstrate, signal the universe that we're listening and we're open. And that's how the most miraculous things open up. I saw so many messages on people's t-shirts and in all kinds of seemingly random places on the trip that were confirming to me that I'm on the right path. And the more I opened up my voice and my expression and my experiences and shared my songs and my story in circles, even though it felt terrifying. I've been learning these medicine songs. I'm on this whole music journey, learning the guitar and making my own shamanic drums, learning how to allow my voice to be the carrier of the spirit that it is. I shared a few songs and I don't know how to play them on the guitar yet, so I did it a cappella and it was terrifying and I messed up. And I was embarrassed. And yet afterwards, I had women come up to me and say, hey, if you hadn't shared that, I wouldn't have shared my story. I wouldn't have shared my song. So thank you. And so I'm being reminded that it only takes one. It only takes one person to share your truth, share your voice, share your journey, your vision, your prayers, to activate everyone around you to do the same. And it's interesting because I find that sometimes when somebody does that, we end up comparing ourselves to them. But sometimes when somebody does it, we end up opening up into our own way of doing that. And I think it depends on where the person doing it is coming from and where they're at. I think it also depends on where you're at, the person who's receiving it. So it's important to kind of tune into all the layers of that and continue staying open and listening. And my only question to you is, how committed are you to being a vessel to bringing beautiful things into the world? Are you actually willing to take the risk to experience joy, to take the risk to have your creations be out there in the world, seen and experienced by others at the risk of them, criticizing you? Because that's going to happen. But the only thing that matters is that you answer the call, You make it yours, you put it out there, and you move on. Same with social media. So often we'll hear the call, we'll put something out there, and then we don't get the resonance we're hoping for, and we shut down and we retreat. But our only job is to keep going, keep receiving, keep listening, keep bringing it all the way through. And the more we do that, the more guided we are. I've had voices speaking to me since I was a child, and they would tell me the most ridiculous things. I remember, walking on different pavements that had like different structures, like puzzled kind of structures from bricks and stones. And I would be told, okay, walk on this one, but not on this one, and then hop onto here. And I thought something is messing with me. And I would try to shut down those voices so hard. I didn't realize they were playing with me. They were training my listening. And for so many years, I've shut down those voices because I was afraid of them. Just how we're afraid of our own power because it is so magnificent. So I'm relearning to trust that every little thing I hear is not random. Every little thing is a piece of the divine puzzle guiding me somewhere. Just like yesterday, I, in an unplanned way, ended up going on a walk, taking my dog to a walk. And I decided not to go to the park where we usually go because another aggressive dog bit him the other day. Bless the owner. I could see the anger moving from him to the dog and bouncing back and forth. That's kind of how it goes, sadly. But I'm taking a break from that park. We went to a new place. It was our second time there. We decided to take a new road. There was nobody else there. It was almost sunset. We didn't have a lot of time there. And we're walking off the path. And I see Kobe hopping like a little bunny. And then we walk back onto the path. And the moment we do, I see this beautiful pattern on the ground in the dirt. And listen, I've been in prayer about the logo and the branding for the product that I'm about to share with you. Not right now, but soon. And the moment I see it, something in me moves, and I know this is at the center of the logo. I've already received the other elements. I already know what the vision is. I know what it feels like. But this is at the center of it that holds it all together. If Kobe didn't get bitten, if I didn't hear the ping to go take him on a walk, do you see what I'm saying? Like there's so many things that needed to align for me to hear that guidance, to be there in that moment, and to be in the space where I'm praying for a logo, praying for a sign, praying for nature to guide me. And then there it was. I couldn't even believe it. I still can't believe it. It's one of the craziest things I've ever experienced. So that's a little bit about my trip to Peru and the frequency that I'm on now, thanks to being there. I also want to say tremendous thank you to Joaquin Del Mojo, who was the organizer of the retreat, who also reminded me of the power of following our vision. This was a vision he had of gathering together in that place and taking people through that experience. And he trusted it and he gathered us. And it was life-changing in every way for me. And I was talking to him about how much I respect and admire, and I'm grateful for his way of leading. It is very considerate, it is very respectful, intentional, prayerful. And he said, do you realize that I'm not pretending to be a teacher or a leader of these experiences? I organize experiences that I want to go on, and then I invite people to join me. And that gave me immediately like a jolt through my whole body, because I've known for a long time that I'm meant to lead experiences in Russia. There are some really, really, really sacred, pristine lands in Russia, in nature, that those forests, they speak in the most tremendous ways. When I want to enter any kind of shamanic portals in my meditations, I go into Russian forests. And I was shown how we're getting close to a time where it's possible for me to organize that trip and invite those of you who are called to go. I know I have a lot of close friends who have been expressing desire and calling to go for a long time, and I feel like we're getting there. Now that that pressure is off of me, being like a spiritual leader of the retreat, I don't have to be that. I can be an intentional space holder and organizer, and the one who answered the call to then co-create with all of you. So that's some really powerful seeds that I just share with you. And I'm curious what that brings up for you, what kind of seeds it's activating. And I also want to remind you to stop being upset at seeds not blossoming that you don't even want to see blossom. Water those seeds that bring you delight and joy. See how they land in your heart and give that brain a break. Allow the brain to be in service of the heart and not the other way around. Thank you for tuning in to this impromptu Wild Feminine Goddess download. And you'll be hearing more from me soon. One of my intentions is to do more in-person video podcast recordings. I have been hearing for many years now. I remember praying back in 2021, God, tell me what is the next step of my podcast actually blowing up and reaching so many people in every part of the world and activating in their own hearts, their own knowing and their own remembering, their own voice. And I was very clearly told video podcasts, and I still haven't done it. So it's time. I know it's time. And this year is the year. You heard it here first. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the love. And I'm very excited to share with you what's next very, very soon. In the meantime, I'll see you on Instagram. And one thing I forgot to mention is we cannot expect to create from a state of overdrive and being super busy and being in our masculine. The only way a woman can create from that place of listening and being a vessel for miracles is a relaxed nervous system. That's why it is so profoundly important for us to prioritize rest, self-care, massage, sitting on the couch and not needing to do anything, journaling, not expecting anything to come out of it, going on a walk without looking at time. How can you build those moments into your day, into your week, into your life that allow your nervous system to be in a receptive place so you're not in an overdrive mode of needing to create, and you're not in a mode of needing to put pressure on your creations to be something out there, to bring something back to you. The only way for a woman to create magic in the world is to prioritize her nervous system. So how can you do that today? What one thing can you do to do that? Whether it's taking a bath and making yourself a cup of tea, going into your room, going on a walk, taking 5 minutes to listen. What will it look like for you? Go experience it and tell me what miracles unfold as a result, because I guarantee you they will.